Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, my Ravens. Today I am bringing you another build for our decade save file. This is build number 8. No, I lied. This is build number 9. If you are new to the channel, thanks for joining us. My name is Misty. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to join the Raven family. If you do, hit the bell. It will notify you when my videos go live. Anywho, let's go ahead and jump in and get to it. Okay, so this build is actually being placed dead center in the middle of town in Strangerville, and the vision for this is that I wanted to build a reform school. So in 1910, part of the rules is that if your children made a C in school or lower, they actually have to be sent to another household. And I don't have another household to really send them to, so we're going to be sending them to this school. So following this video, there will be a cast video coming out for the teacher that will be living here in this house that will be basically teaching our children in hopes to get their grades back up to a reasonable area so that they can come back home to live with their loving families. But basically this is in kind of the same fashion as a boarding school, that the vision for this, only you're going to see it's a little bit more drab. So whereas the boarding school for the boys and the finishing school for the girls was a lot more fancy and proper and welcoming and things of that nature, the reform school is not that way. It's very dull and boring and unwelcoming in the sense of like on the outside looks, I think, really pretty, but the inside is just like lifeless and unwelcoming in the sense of well, you'll see what I mean. So typically I let you guys listen to some music and I don't talk through these things, and I got some feedback that you guys like it when I ramble. So here we are. But that being said, I do have a really bad cough right now because I don't know, my asthma is a little bit out of control, but that's okay. I will do my best and we will power through. So I kind of went with like a bit of a cathedral-ish kind of look with this one. Old Englishy kind of style. I don't really know why, it's just what kind of came to me. And then as I was building, I was like, you know what, like Old Town. That's kind of the vision I had for this, like Old Town reform school kind of build. Old Town name. I ended up naming it Old Town Reform School. So I wanted it to have like nice arched windows, and it's got like what's the word I'm looking for, people? Like cobblestone on the outside, right? You'll see. But anyhow, I personally ended up really liking how it turned out. I think it is lovely on the outside. I tried to make it as welcoming as I could on the outside. I did want it to kind of fit in. The remainder of the buildings in this part of Strangerville are all, if you look around, they're like brick or stone, and kind of they have that like fancier kind of look to them. So I do I want this building to kind of fit into that kind of fancier look, and I think it does that. Like it does fit into that kind of Art Deco-y. Maybe I'm not finding the right words. You get what I'm saying. I'm rambling. This is what I'm saying. This is why I usually play music. But I wanted it to fit in, and I do think it kind of fit in. But the inside, I just find that I just made it very plain and unwelcoming, because I don't want the children to look at this place and be like, ooh, I want to go there. I want the children to look at this place and be like, I want to do good in school because I don't want to go there. Like that's kind of my goal here. And so those lovely windows at the very bottom there, like all the windows are up at top are just kind of for looks, but the big windows at the bottom, you're going to notice I'm going to put bars on all of them. And then we're going to hide the bars with bushes so that it looks like there aren't bars, but if like the kids were inside the building and they were looking out, they would be seeing bars, right? Like they're barred in. But on the outside looking in, you wouldn't be able to tell that there's bars on the windows. It would just look like a fancy, lovely building from the outside, but on the inside, the children can see that they're like locked in. Is kind of the appeal that this, like that's kind of the view of this, right, unwelcoming space that this reform school has. And then in this reform school, there is literally one single bathroom. There is one room where they all share and they have bunk beds. And there is one major room where they have a kitchen with one giant table where they all sit to eat. And there is a, that same room holds a couch or two and a couple of chairs. And there is like a bookshelf and a radio, like gramophone, for them to listen to like the news and or the classical radio station. And they can do some reading. There is a, that's about it. Like literally there's nothing here for them to do other than plant, do their wash, and do their studies. There's nothing fun. There's no toys. There's no swings. There's no kid stuff at all. Like literally if they lived here, they would do their studies. They would read, they would garden, they would do laundry, or they would do their homework or school projects. There is nothing fun about this building whatsoever. They would literally come here and just have to study. So this place would be no fun at all for someone to live. They would just be coming here to improve their studies and get their grades up. So now I'm just putting in the fancy columns because, again, I am wanting to make this look as fancy as I can in that kind of Art Deco-y, I don't know, English Old Town fashion. It was the look that I was kind of going for. I may be way off in in my vision, but this is kind of what I envision when I think of that. And then once I put the columns up, then I'm going to go ahead and go through and put up, I think after that, actually, I fixed the roof because I noticed that it's doing that nonsense. And I'm like, okay, I hate that. And that has to be fixed because I can't deal with that. So I fixed that whole roof scenario. And then after that, then I do the outside of the building where I put up the stone and I fix the roof pattern and place the other roofing ornaments and things like that. And then I start with our lovely landscaping. And to be completely honest with you, fixing this roof was a little bit of a nightmare because it didn't want to line up. It didn't want to cooperate. And I hate that it does that whole clipping thing, but it just did not want to work with me for a minute there. And I was like, are you freaking kidding? And then finally I was able to make it work. And I was like, okay, now we're on to something. All right, so I was able to get that worked. And so I finally got everything lined up here. I'm just cleaning everything up so it's all nice and smooth. And I'm just going to put the edges on and we're just going to bevel everything out so that it looks nice and lovely. And then we'll put the final touches on. I am going to put the little toppers on the roof there. And then it's time for the outside. And I wanted kind of like at first a tin roof, and then I thought, you know what? I don't know that would actually look good. And then I saw this one and I thought, okay, I like how that actually turns out and it looks really, really nice together. So that's what I ended up going with. And I do know that those columns don't line up. Don't worry, later I come back and I do fix that. And we're just gonna go ahead and start with our landscaping now. So I'm just going around and putting in all of our little planters. And at first I was gonna put these little balcony things, and then I was like, you know what? No, let's do the bar thing. So I remove all of those and I put the bars on the windows. And then as I go through later on and I'm doing the landscaping is when I will put the bushes up so that we can go ahead and hide our little bars on our windows. And so now I'm just giving this yard a little bit of a homey, welcoming look to it, because I do want the outside to look very pretty and welcoming. I mean, we all love our landscaping and making the house look lovely. Obviously, we don't want the children to want to come here, but we do want the parents to be like, oh, that's a beautiful place. I know, right? Not misleading at all. But, I mean, at the end of the day, we do want it to look lovely on the outside, even if it's not necessarily where we would want to actually spend our time. And no, don't get me wrong, like the inside's not like, oh God, that's creepy. But, you know, it's not fancy like the boarding school or the finishing school. It's just plain, right? It's just like boring and plain. It's just basically you're going to go there because you're going to learn. This is basically what I'm saying. Nothing extravagant. Literally, it's just you were not doing your studies and you've now gotten yourself in trouble and now you have to go here for punishment and get your studies up so that you can finally go home to where your parents are. So I am just going ahead and putting a little bit of trees and bushes in the yard. I'm going to put a planter so that they can maybe plant some things in the little planter in the front. And I'm going to also put a little bee box up front there. And I'll put a clothesline and wash basin so that some laundry can be done. And I'll put a swing out here so that they can have a place to sit if they want to come out and sit and kind of chat. And that will finish out what our front yard is going to look like. Oh, and the birdhouse, of course. Oh, and I will do some vines as well as make sure that our little bushes there are in the around the windows. And now I'm just making sure that everything is centered up and covering everything up really nicely so that you can't really tell. I mean, you can see that there is bars there, but it's less noticeable in the front than it is the back. And then we're going to go ahead and move into the inside. And so as you can see, we'll have our front little foyer there, and then the room to the left is the bathroom. The big room to the right is going to be the bedroom, and then that huge massive room in the middle is the kitchen, dining, living space, because that one room holds all of those areas. So it's basically the living space. Living, kitchen, dining, eating, everything. And excuse me, because it is the 1910s, they can have paint now and drywall. Well, no, paint and drywall. Paint. So they're allowed paint. Yeah, paint. Wallpaper. Basically everything. They can have everything now. So I do give them painted walls. Just regular paint. And I just do neutrals, basically. I give them just neutral colors throughout. Wood flooring. And tile floor in the bathroom. And that's why I said, like, it's just boring. Like, it's just plain, because I don't want it to be fancy to the point where the children are like, ooh, we love it here, like, it's beautiful and whatever. I just want it to be like whatever. Not to say that it's like hideous. It's not. It's still nice looking. It's just, there's nothing super spectacular about it, I don't think. You may disagree, but you may be like, oh, it's beautiful. But I personally think, like, the finishing school, the Macaulay boarding school, like, those were fancy. They were like, there was something about them that just kind of, like, you want to be there. You want to spend time there. There's lots of, like, skill building things, and you can go and you can enjoy yourself, and you can sit around and enjoy the fireplace and enjoy hanging out, and, you know, there's things to do and whatever. Whereas here it's like, what are you gonna do? Sit there on the couch and stare at each other, or read a book, or do your homework, or sleep, or stand outside and do nothing. Like, there's nothing to do. And we're in Strangerville, so it's like, what are you gonna do? We're gonna send our children there and they're gonna, like, get infected. I'm just kidding. I'll turn that. I don't need to turn that off. Alright, so the bathroom is done there, and it's just basics. So they've got themselves a toilet, they've got themselves a sink and a mirror, and basically just a basic bathroom. And I'm just doing the little entryway here. They're going to have a little coat rack and umbrella stand, a little table there at the in the foyer with like a vase, and there'll be like I'm going to put like a little decanter there. And now for the bedroom. Lots of bunk beds. And I actually do put a mirror in this room, so if they wanted to like talk to a mirror to calm down, they could do so. And I think there's also a like a nightstand or dresser. Yeah. So they could like change in their outfits or whatever. So there's that. And then now it's time to get started on our kitchen and dining and living space. And this is always the hardest part for me, because I'm trying to decide what do I want it to look like, because I have so many bloody countertops to choose from. But I do still want it to look very rustic, so I did use these. These are by Simcredible, I believe, and then I also wanted to make sure that I used, the sink is by SYB, it's called Annie, and so it's like its own little like sink. I think it's very fitting. And then this is a Pie Safe by Linslu, and it operates as a fridge. So I end up removing that section and just putting that in. And so that is our little kitchen area. And then I'm gonna put a really big table that can hold a whole mass group of people. Not that I think we're gonna have a ton of children here at one time. Lord, I hope not. But I do want it to at least be able to house 8, just in case there are ever 8 people in this area. And just put a little flower in the middle of the table there so it looks like it's a little bit welcoming, because as of right now, there's really no welcoming touches in this place at all. So there's the couch and the 2 chairs. I'm going to put a couch on the other side, and there'll be the bookshelf and the gramophone. I was going to go ahead and work in a chess table. I may go back in and actually do that, just so that the children will have something to do other than their studies, but I haven't quite decided yet if I want to do that. We may have to see how it goes. If they get to where like they're too bored, we may add that in. But this is what our little reform school has turned out to look like. So let me know what you guys think of this reform school. I think it turned out really adorable. I mean, like I said, the inside is nothing too fancy, nothing too extravagant. Like I said, it's really plain, really to the point. Honestly, like, the children should not want to come here. It is not anything to be excited about. This is a place of punishment, not joy. So, but that's kind of the point of reform school. It's to rehabilitate them into better studies so that they can get their butts home to where they belong. So, yeah. But I do think I'm going to go ahead and leave this one here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Go ahead and hit that notification bell so you are notified when new episodes go live on the channel. It really does help me out. And I am going to go ahead and fly for now. Bye, y'all.